This is dinner.
And a movie.
Mm-hmm. Halloween edition.
It is! Happy Halloween! It's already been Halloween for you, unless it's a year later. And then
Nah, I'll get it up before.
Sure? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was Halloween for us. It started yesterday, Halloween Eve.
Yeah.
We did. We won't review the whole thing, but we did a 12-hour horror movie marathon at Coolidge after midnight.
The 20th anniversary, which is amazing. And Mark is wonderful. He's been running it, program manager. He said for 16 of the 20 years. That's a long time because he's not like an old man or anything.
No, it's like a young dude.
So, yeah. He's very committed and very funny. He's great.
Yeah,
he's
very dry sense of humor.
He's super.
Yeah.
So if you're ever in Boston on a Friday, actually anytime, because Coolidge always runs really interesting stuff, but the Fridays and Saturdays, it's always like his crazy top picks.
Yeah, a lot of really cool stuff. Midnight movies. And it's fun to watch a midnight movie. It's midnight. You're with a bunch of crazy movie fans. You're all into weird stuff, most likely, or else you wouldn't be out at midnight watching a movie on the big screen in a really cool theater.
Yeah. Oh, I've got my Coolidge.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
There's some there.
I know. I should.
You have the opportunity. Yeah. I got mine for COVID.
Yeah,
Coolidge.
I'm gonna get one next time.
Halloween was cool. They always do a costume thing, so we both had costumes.
Yeah.
But we're not wearing them now.
No.
Because
we'll put up pictures. We'll put up pictures right now. Boom.
My costume, I didn't realize this because I've worn it for a few years. I just really like it. It's like this giant, like, beastly.
Yeah, you should name it.
Thing. It doesn't have a good name. No. People kept asking me about what's its name. I'm like, it doesn't have a name. It's the goat with no name.
That's pretty cool. The goat with no name. Yeah. Been to the Coolidge with the goat with no name.
It was good to be out of the rain. It was like hell.
Yeah, I was so.
Rainy is in hell, but.
I was so my hoodie weighed like 30 pounds, I think, because it was just completely drenched. When I took it off, I was like, "Holy shit!" So I got a good workout. So I walked around in soaked hoodie and soaked jeans. I bought new jeans. I sat and
nice jeans.
They're nice. I sat and dried my shoes with a hairdryer.
You'll have a rough time.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's fine. We're over there.
So Coolidge, that was awesome. It was the year of sequels.
Yeah, that's a really broad topic because sequels could be any type of horror,
and it was.
Yeah,
it ran the gamut.
So the two headliners were two of my favorites actually. Halloween 3, which I'm just gonna put it to rest. Annabelle used to say this, and she's right. Is you can no longer say I'm in the minority and I like Halloween 3. You're in the majority. It's not cool to like Halloween 3. It's just if you like it, you're not like getting street cred like, oh, I like Halloween 3, like you're the only person. The minority dislike it now.
Yeah.
It used to be different when I was a kid. Honestly.
I feel like, but I think it's not. Let's just be let's be kind. So not everybody is so bold in their opinions. So now everybody, it's safe. It's a safe zone. You can tell the world you like Halloween. Yeah. It's okay.
I mean, this is not breaking new ground, but people, when it comes out and there's no Michael Myers, it's like, what the hell?
Oh,
but
yeah.
now you can rent it, and you probably know
40 years ago when it came out.
Yeah. It's a freaking weird movie. You've never seen it. We won't go full review, but there's robots and druids, and they steal
you
stuff.
You put that in like a whole way that I wouldn't even use those words to describe the movie, so I'm glad you said it, because it's real. That's the reality, is it does have robots and druids.
A Stonehenge heist. A doctor who's like a private investigator. He's like the James Bond of doctors. I know. You even missed one point, because you went to get popcorn or something. The older nurse, he like pinches her ass at the beginning, Angus.
He's just...
I don't know. I'm a big fan of Tom Atkins, but I don't know why he's like the big ladies' man in all these movies of the era.
Have you seen the stash?
It is pretty sweet. And that's why I'm growing mine in.
To be more like Tom Atkins.
I want to be Tom Atkins.
Next time you see him, be like, Tom, you see this?
Yeah.
Then
that'll be a new meme. Tom Atkins does not give a fuck about your mustache.
I remember we interviewed him, or you interviewed him, really. I held the camera, and or whatever it was. We were in Seattle. And he seemed so disinterested in us.
Yeah,
like 100%.
I thought it was a really cool question. This is before it was so much about Halloween 3, and I was like, did you think it, over time, it's like the popularity had grown, and he just looked at the camera and said, I don't give a shit what people think about Halloween 3. And then that became a meme, which I wish they would have credited Without Your Head.
It did?
Yes.
Stop it.
Yes, it doesn't say Without Your Head on it, but it's a meme, and it's a quote right from the interview.
Get out. You'll have to share that with me.
Yeah.
I like hide in the cave. I don't know what goes on in the world.
I was like, this is from my interview. Why can't they credit?
Wow. Was it a place that stole from you? Like a particular place?
It's just someone they put the quote on the picture.
Well, I guess that's the world of memes, though.
Mm-hmm. So Halloween 3, we could do a whole show on that someday. Maybe we will. And Bride of Frankenstein, to me, one of the best sequels of all time. James Whale. People, talk about, when they talk about great horror directors, it's, rightfully so, Carpenter, Wes Craven. And, to me, he deserves up there, James Whale for Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Invisible Man. 3 of the best horror movies.
Incredible. They all have comedy.
Yeah.
Excellent comedy.
Yeah. Comedy still holds up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Frankenstein takes a big back step in Bride of Frankenstein. He's kind of a nothing character.
But the other dude...
They try to redeem him. But Dr. Pretorius, he's
like in From Beyond.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of as many people. I think that's the big flaw of the movie. But he is amazing. His delivery is fantastic.
I liked it. I think I liked it much more this time than the last time I saw it. I really think I've only seen Bride of Frankenstein 2 times, both at Coolidge marathons.
Stuff with the monster, the blind guy is great.
It was very emotional, really.
Oh, yeah.
I got a little. I get more emotional now, so I was getting like a little like, oh,
yeah, it's very sad. It's fun. You can see the joy in him when he's drinking the wine, he's smoking. So
if you're not familiar, I really hope you'll find it's enjoyable to watch. Find a buddy to hang out with and get some, or a few people, or you don't have to have a buddy, but it's nice when you do. Well, we were talking about losing focus earlier, and sometimes it's easier to pay attention with.
Right.
With the presence. But at any rate, so, it's this beautiful scene where Frankenstein is out in the countryside scaring anyone he encounters. He scared the little sheep. There's like lambs. This woman is with her lambs.
Yeah.
Lambkin, whatever they are. And he's like trying to be nice. And not only is she screaming, the sheep are like, the little lambs are like, and so he stumbles into this home where this old dude is living, and he's blind, and so they become buddies because the blind guy can't see him to be terrified.
He's just happy for the company.
Yeah, when he said he prayed to God and like every day, and like, oh my God, both of the actors did so beautifully.
Yeah, it's a great scene. So to me, a wonderful movie, one of the best. He says that's credited as the first horror sequel, so that's very interesting.
Which is very interesting.
Possible. Which probably true. From there was Exorcist 3, which is a great movie.
Yes, it is. I enjoyed it.
Talk about acting. George C. Scott. There's a few things. George C. Scott and Ed Flanders, I believe his name is. Their interaction to begin with is great as old friends. They're kind of curmudgeon old guys. And that really sets up the movie because, when something, I don't want to spoil this movie, but it's 40 years old. When something happens to the priest pretty early in the movie, and I think it's unexpected, it really means a lot because you're really invested in these two guys.
They're very enjoyable to watch, giving each other a hard time.
And then you want to see him get revenge. And then amazing performance by Brad Dourif.
Oh, yeah.
I read the book recently, and Brad Dourif's performance elevates that scene, which doesn't always happen. Sometimes you read the book, and it's hard to match that in a performance.
Having not read it, I'll assume you're right.
Right. The ending of the book is terrible, but the movie is. I actually think this was a case of the movie version is actually better than the source material.
Just while we're talking about Exorcist, I know we can go into Brad Dourif.
Yeah.
But, so he also, Mark runs trailers. It's Mark, and I don't know if he has his projectionist fellow. I think it's Tom. Sorry if it's not Tom.
And not Tom Atkins.
Not Tom Atkins. Though he might have a great mustache. I'm not aware. Anyway, so they run trailers, and one of the trailers was for Exorcist 2, The Heretic, which everybody
Yeah, it's
so
like
this is
universally
kind of like
panned.
exactly. It's like so. I feel like is this like the Halloween 3? And I want to watch it because I feel like everybody shits on it. But I'm watching the trailer. I'm like, the trailer looks pretty.
The trailer did
awesome,
look great.
Really,
there was like this wild music in the trailer. It didn't really seem like it was fitting, but it made me want to see it. I remember hating it as a kid, but I haven't seen it in honestly probably like 30 years. So I would totally revisit this.
I want to see it.
Yeah,
that would be something I would do.
Yeah, that'd be
even
cool.
if we saw something like separate on our own, we could
right? That would be cool.
Yeah,
we could add that to these videos. Get together to see a movie and then also review a movie that we saw.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, we'll put this on the list and remind us out there. And if there's anything else maybe you'd like you demand, we'll think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're like, review this so we can hear your...
Yeah, like review Meatballs too.
Please don't.
No.
Preferably not.
Right. But you get the idea. Yeah.
Maybe we did watch Smurfs once.
We did. That was a fun interview, to be honest. I mean, fun video, yeah.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
We were also like massively drunk.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
Didn't I draw on your face for that?
Yes.
What was that all about? There's something about losers.
Yeah, well, probably.
Maybe it was about whether or not we liked it.
I know what it was about, but we probably should make fun of it.
Oh, maybe not.
We'll get canceled. Yeah, don't go back. Well, go back if you're not easily offended. Go back and watch all the old episodes. If you are,
now you'll definitely get canceled.
Right. Skip those. Yeah.
I have nothing to lose. Like if you get canceled,
I think by now people are. It's whatever. I don't know. I probably could run for office or work for Disney or something, but all right. So Exorcist 3. There's a lot of not innocent in that. Great film, great performances, great acting. Some people said it's too talky, but I don't think so because the dialogue in it's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if some people, to get into one of the movies, there's definitely movies that we saw that where it was a lot of dying,
right,
as opposed to talking,
right, and some of them are your fan favorites. So what this is my personal taste. So from there. Oh, and at that time we could have left and saw Jaws Revenge.
Yeah, which Mark really sold, but we didn't see it.
No.
I'm afraid of sharks.
If it would have been something else, I might have, but I would much. I don't think I could look myself in the mirror if I knew I left Exorcist 3 to watch Jaws Revenge.
I'm glad you stayed.
Yeah. I would maybe. I might have left for the next movie.
Oh God!
Nothing. I like people involved in this movie, but it was Jason X, and to me, it actually has a great idea. I honestly think it's an interesting idea.
I think so too. I think it's a brilliant idea that Jason. They finally capture him. Here's this if you think about the movies, he dies and dies and dies and dies and dies, and he keeps killing. Well, apparently, at some point, government figures this out. I haven't seen them all, so maybe there's like a timeline to this that they capture him. Does that happen in the movie? No. It's just assumed that somehow the government finds out that there's this Jason guy out there killing everybody. Can you imagine that? That's the movie that should be made. The government getting involved and taking Jason down. And locking him up.
Yeah, I don't think it happens. I think they blow him up and Jason goes to hell. Yeah.
So, they lock him down, and then they're going to cryogenically freeze him so he can't hurt innocent people.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a good premise for a movie, and great kills, but
not great enough. It's going to sustain me.
This is a movie that does build up the characters for you wanting to see them die,
wicked,
as opposed to feeling bad. I think when they die,
but it's not rewarding enough. Like I feel like. Probably most of the people that watch this are totally cool with seeing people like sucking face for like the whole thing.
It's funny because it has this whole new setup, but then it's very much amped up, like just like young adults having sex.
Yeah, and then we kind of came to the conclusion that a lot of the movies from especially the late 90s, early
2000s,
are just garbage. It's just the same.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. It's like, we like the people involved, but the movie was garbage. It's not to say anything of the performance. Like, people are in the movies they're in.
Oh yeah.
But it's not like they're writing the script usually.
I do think Kane Hodder is really good as Jason in this one.
Yes, he's a great physical presence.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why he got the job, right?
But yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to see Cronenberg as the doctor.
That is true. It's so weird. He said during the film that Cronenberg is really into the Jason.
Yeah, well, I interviewed Todd Farmer on the show, and he said like he was just into it, wanting to get killed by Jason, which I found very bizarre.
All right, so there's that movie. We switched theaters because there are multiple theaters in the building to Bride of Chucky. Which fine.
I remember liking it a lot better. I wasn't into it this time.
No, and then what was after that? Crepes,
which are great.
Mm-hmm. In the creperie store.
Burritos were earlier. I'll be honest, I don't think the burritos that great, but the crepes are really good.
Crepes are good.
Make them fresh right there in front of you. And then it was Night of the Seagulls from the Blind Dead. I was going to say trilogy, but it's a quadrilogy, I guess. Quadrilogy. Yeah. Which I posted in Joe, Diablo Joe. He was all excited. He's like a classic. But I don't know.
It's fine, I guess. I think it'd be more fine if... Well, Mark was selling the films like some of the films are basically some of the films are really shitty, but if you watch them with a crowd of people, then
it was fun watching it with people. I have to say that, but it was long. It was very tedious. It's a very tedious movie
because there's only like 4 people in it.
It's weird. There's like There's a lot of themes about just slowness. Like the guys are just slow, and there's crabs walking slow.
They are slow. That's true.
Everything's slow. So the horses aren't slow. But they
do slow them down, though. There's like scenes where they're slow mode.
Yeah.
There's like moments, and it's like, oh my god.
It's a very repetitive movie. I don't know.
It's just these nights, like this.
They look great. I will say they look cool.
The dead dudes?
Yeah.
For their time, I think. Yeah. And for the budget.
I think that I actually was watching. I think that would be a cool costume. You just need a robe, a cool man. And then you'd have like, you had fake like dead arms, and you just stick them out the front, so they walk around like this. Get some crabs. Not I'm not be safe, people. I mean, like actual big crabs. From the sea. That's gonna be a PSA. Get crab.
So crabs.
Yes, crabs. They should just. I don't know why. I know seagulls are flying around, but I don't know why it's called Night of the Seagulls.
There was a reason, and now it made. I was like, oh, that makes sense now about the seagulls, but
I don't even know anymore. It's like every night. It's like multiple nights.
No, there's some kind of mythology aspect to it. Some like kind of.
I'll be honest. I'm never going to watch this one again.
No.
But I've heard a lot about it. Maybe I should watch the other ones.
Yeah.
If it's just crabs and dead dudes walking slowly, I don't know. A lot of exposed breasts too.
Was it all multiple times or just that one?
Multiple times. Right at the beginning. Every time they sacrifice the woman.
How many times did they sacrifice the woman?
4 or 5
I've also not really been awake.
Yeah. It's a very repetitive.
One of my naps. Well, I think honestly,
I like the old doctor.
Mark builds in enough movies that there's going to be one that you can sleep.
Yeah.
It's like, here you go, guys.
Yeah.
Have a nap. 12 hours.
And then, the book ended. It's cool. You have another Halloween movie, Halloween 2.
Yes. Which that is a really like. That's really weird because a lot of times. So, what were the serious movies? There was.
Bride, sort of, but I mean it's pretty comedic. Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, I thought you meant
Bride of
Chucky. What?
Academy Award-winning Bride of Chucky.
Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah, but there's like good, like solid themes in it, like the Frankenstein and the ideas of men becoming gods and all that. So there's that, and
because Halloween 3 is like batshit crazy.
Exorcist 3.
Exorcist 3 is a very serious.
That's
movie.
it.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Alan Howarth was in it.
Yes, that was awesome. That was like
he put on an hour performance. That was very cool.
Really cool.
All of the music from his movies, and he played guitar.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming people watch this show are familiar with him. And it's very much like if you were to see John Carpenter perform. It's like a lot of keyboard. It's almost like if you were going to go to like a DJ. Like there's all the electronic stuff set up, and then he ended up getting into like a set where he's...
Yeah, and even kind of, I don't know if you call it, did some vocals, which was kind of wild too.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. And then he's got like stuff going on behind him, like visual accompaniments from movies. Yeah, he was cool. I wish... the audience doesn't know how to clap, like, appropriately. So I'd have to start claps.
Yeah, you did.
I did. It was like, guys, you know, the poor man is up there, like, have you been to a concert? Do you know
and
what it's like to be a human being?
He would say thank you sometimes when you hear the claps.
Yes. You want a person to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Clapping is good.
Yeah. And he was out there signing CDs, and he had, like, I'm not sure what you call them. They were like they were like books with the music for the movies. I don't know what you call them, honestly, but
music book.
Yeah,
it's the score. Right?
Yeah, the score for like Halloween 3
so
and Escape from New York and stuff,
which is really cool.
Yeah,
it's very cool. He had some beautiful looking records.
Yeah, they were really nice. They were really. If I had like a cool place to put them, or that would definitely be a nice thing. That actually would be a good idea.
I'm like, wait a minute! If only you had the space to display things for the world to see.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah, so Coolidge is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We loved Coolidge. We loved Coolidge After Midnight.
Coolidge After Midnight. Movies till the dawn. 12-hour marathon. So then today, I was like, well, we're going to go see more movies. We'll keep Annabelle up. We can film that. But
because Antlers is playing, and it's a limited run, and I really wanted to see it, and I heard it was very good.
I really liked it. I don't know what Annabelle thinks. Hopefully we're not going to fight here.
So, is this the review of Antlers?
Now we're going to review Antlers here.
Antlers. So, brand new this past weekend. This being right now, we're still on Halloween, so October 31st, 2021. Went and saw it at
AMC.
It's no Coolidge.
No.
But
it's still nice. I'll be honest, for a mainstream theater, they do show, I know this is, it's playing someplace, but they do show some weird movies sometimes at AMC, which is nice.
It is, definitely. So
actually, because all weekend, real quick, they were showing the body cast of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That's been happening at that theater since the dawn of time. Mm-hmm. It's probably been multiple theaters, and they'll have that forever. I think it's still called the same thing. I think it's still called the podcast.
But that's very cool. So it's fun time.
So Antlers. I saw one trailer, I think.
Yeah, when we went to see something or other.
Yeah, and it just looked really cool.
Yeah. I mean, this was going to come out last year, but it was postponed because of COVID.
Mm-hmm. It just has this, very, I don't know if you would call it, what do they call this new horror genre?
Kind of a folk horror.
Yeah, it's sort of folk horror because it talks about mythology and the importance of mythology and culture and the different cultures and how it informs society because the reason for myths are to sort of, teach people through metaphor.
Right.
So they gave, the woman is running a classroom of, 12-year-olds and just trying to, say, what do you think about the myths? And some girl is like, Goldilocks. Okay, Goldilocks is about this girl who sees through theirs, and what's the moral of the story? It's basically don't take from other people.
Yeah,
because you get your ass kicked.
Yeah, the kid was like, don't eat from bears.
And she's like, don't take things. Okay.
Yeah.
So the movie is essentially about, from what you can gather from the trailers, which you should probably see a trailer if you're going to watch this review. And this will be spoilers.
Yeah, it'll be
has to be spoilers.
Yeah. Probably all these will be going forward.
That's true. Fair. So spoilers. This kid from the trailer is basically, he's troubled. There's issues. He's drawn all kinds of crazy shit, monsters and whatnot. And you can see the teachers involved.
And they come from an area where a lot of kids are from troubled families.
Yes.
Because
a lot of poverty.
There was something I like right from the beginning, every time there's a radio in the background, you hear about opioids, jobs because of coal factories. The coal industry's gone. People getting evicted, all these terrible things, and it really goes into the theme of like there's a decay of the whole community.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a real. Talk about serious movies. This is a very somber movie.
Absolutely,
it's a very. I would say it's like a joyless movie.
Yes, it actually. I think. Well, there's a moment of joy where they're bonding about ice cream being a vegetable.
Yeah,
so
and it's a very short-lived thing that doesn't really go where she is hoping it will.
Mm-hmm.
She's hoping it wins this kid over, but this kid seen more in his days than a normal kid, so he's not going to get. He's not going to get easily tempted by some ice cream.
No, but he did enjoy the ice cream.
He did. Yeah.
You got to take the ice cream,
right?
Especially when your father's a once upon a time meth cooking monster.
Mm-hmm. So he's down in the mines with his buddy, the kid's father.
Yeah, so that's the opening. Is that it's like this amazing, beautiful, majestic land.
Yeah, it was really great. Great scenery and shot really well.
And then, so you're in this majestic land. They give you the sense of like total isolation. You see this father and son. That's
a good contrast. You said it too. That's a very beautiful place. And then in the heart of it, there are terrible things are going on. They're making meth.
Yeah. Him and his buddy.
Mm-hmm.
So the kid is this 12-year-old cute kid is left in the truck, and daddy's got to go do blah, and descends into this old mine shaft with this dude, and they're cooking up the Sudafed.
Yeah, because I don't think they just say meth, but it's weird that that's just part of society now. You see the Sudafed and stuff, and you can kind of know what they're doing. I think they do say meth and meth later on in the movie.
Yeah, the cop brings it up.
So then they hear something which is clearly some kind of animal.
Yeah, something horrific.
And so they go like, hey, I would just run the fuck out of there. But they go to investigate.
Well, the one guy did want to run.
Yeah.
And the dad is like, going to be tough. Well, I guess,
that's realistic. There are people like that.
Yes, the reality being that these are very poor people and their living is making meth.
Right.
And so they got to preserve it.
There's because it's not like, okay, they're just making meth because they're shitheads and want to sell drugs. He does have to support the two kids and apparently lost their mother.
Parent.
So, yeah. And there is some humanity left in him throughout for most of the movie. He shows he loves his kid, even though he's taken to where he's making meth, but he's doing it because he has to.
And then later on, yes. So in the mine shaft, horrific sounds, and then there's an attack. Like you just know there's an attack.
Yeah, you don't really know exactly what. Point.
So then the kid kind of like goes towards. It's loud. It's a mine shaft. It's echoing, and he goes out of the vehicle and goes towards the mine shaft. And there's all these weird from the ceiling, there's structure. There's like
pouches.
Yeah, like leather pouches. Yes. Exactly. And you can tell there's something in them, like something with some weight, and they're just like hanging over. It's really bizarre.
And interesting. Sometimes they do that kind of stuff and they don't work. But honestly, when I thought they do work because nothing comes out of there. They have to go in past them because even later on, the sheriff's like, I wouldn't go any deeper into this mine because he knows if you go past these, you're out of their protection.
Yes. So that was something too that's kind of tied through the whole thing. Is they're in Oregon, and there are these bags that have like a historic value to Native peoples. Mm-hmm. And the woman who's the teacher, like the very first scene with her, I think, is her entering class. She's new to the classroom. She just moved there. And she's talking about the mythology and says, the first people of this land who told things were Native people.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like becomes important, like the Native culture of America and their mythology and the different things they do and whether to take it seriously or not. Like, is it just myth?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, something that is important in mythology is the idea of, like, is it just myth or is it more to
You're right. Is it loosely based on something or is it, totally true?
Yeah. Where is the power in the myth?
Yeah. And I just personally like, in movies or in storytelling in general, if there is some type of evil, that the good has to have some kind of power to it. It always kind of bugs me when there's no, like, if there's a church and it means nothing and symbols or priests and they have no power, it's like, well, they should have some kind of power. There should be some type of balance, the good. And so the idea that these actually are doing something, I think is a good part of the story. And it fits in with the mythology of everything else that's bad that's going on.
Yeah, you learn later because, like, just most of the characters are just white folk. They're just European Americans. And so they end up going to, the characters are, there's a boy, Lucas, the father, younger brother Aiden, teacher, I don't remember her name, her cop brother.
That guy, I don't know the actor's name, but the last few years he pops up in everything.
Really?
Yeah, the first time I saw him, he was in the Whitey Bulger movie. And I didn't really like that movie, but I thought he was good in it. And then after that, he just started popping up everything. I don't know. Just seems like a likable dude.
He reminded me of someone I grew up with, so maybe that's why I see him as being familiar. But
yeah. Maybe he has that. Maybe he probably has that ability. I bet is why he gets a lot of work. He seems like somebody that people could relate.
So who else? There's the cop brother.
There's the older cop who's the Native American.
He's like the retired sheriff.
Yeah.
Because this guy is now the new sheriff, the cop brother, and he's a little bit like you said, he just seems like a likable. Like he's trying really hard, and the sister. So you get the idea that the sister, the teacher, they're like, I like how they're not super direct and just say things flat out. Like they show. She's looking at like bottles behind a cash register.
Right.
There's liquor bottles, and so okay, so she's an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. And then it's like they show that her license plate says California, so she came from far away, and she's with the brother.
She was gone for a while.
Yes,
and came back.
And there's like a little bit of a between the siblings. So she moved in with the cop after the father died.
Because there's a really good line, I actually think, by the cop. Her brother.
Yes.
Is because they go back with flashbacks that the father was molesting her.
But they don't really get into. They do that in a very subtle way because, like I think about some movies like Natural Born Killers.
Right.
That's really disturbing, upsetting to see. This it's still very disturbing, but she's like. So you see one of the early scenes with her in the house is she looks at this piano and you can tell she's very disturbed, but you're not really sure what the story is at that point at all. And then later on you see her sit down to actually play it, and then you can see like this dude come up behind her and puts his hands on her.
And you're not really sure exactly who it is at that point. I think.
And then there's some flashbacks. So there's not anything like really...
Right, but it's very...
what's going on.
So you don't know what level.
What the hell is up with him on her bed?
I don't know.
With his, stuffed animal.
I don't know if that's...
You said there's a book, so I'm wondering if that's covered more in the book.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. It's an interesting scene, honestly, but I'm not sure what it's going for. But she says, I did...
with the brother.
Every whim and stuff. And then the brother says, which I thought was a very good line, you don't know what he did to me.
That was very disturbing for me to hear. What really bothered me, so that is like a little bit more than halfway through the film, and there's this tension the whole time, and the unsaid things, and partially said things, and then when that happens, she's so upset, kind of like defending herself, and this is why this, and then he says that. He's this very passive guy. Like, you see him not do things, and you're like, why would you not do this? Why would you let this go, and this go, and this go? And you're such a pushover. Like, you need to get your shit together and do something, dude. You're the sheriff.
Yeah.
And so she's kind of in his face and has this whole, like, thing. And when he said that, and then I was so mad because she, like, stormed off.
Yeah, and I also think there's, it goes back to their relationship, because did that also mean she left him there with him, with the father?
Yes. And made excuses and didn't think about him. And just like in that scene where she walked away. again, because of herself, she just like walked away.
And it's how two different types of people deal with the situation.
Mm-hmm. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Poor both of them. I mean, no one's like on the one hand, it's like, what is this woman going to do when she has the opportunity to leave an abusive situation? And she thought that that wasn't happening to him.
Right.
She thought he was okay and that it was happening to her. Probably because she was a girl, and she's like, oh, he's just creeping on me as a girl. And then when he says that, that's part of why that was so upsetting to me to see her walk away, is like, when she hears that from her brother, and if she didn't know it, why wouldn't you then be like, oh my God, and feel terrible? Right. You know, like that was very bothersome to me, that reaction. Yeah, and I felt like she's a hero throughout basically the entire movie, but that she did that was really... But there's a lot of those things in the movie. Like, there's something that you kind of want to get behind, and then it's very disappointing to find out, to learn things about people that you don't really want to know. That's one of those things. I feel like she was such a hero, but with her own brother,
right?
Not so much. Well, she kind of was at the end. She was.
Yeah, at the end, but that means it's a really good scene to me. It says a lot without saying a lot. And I think he's a really understated character, which I think is harder to play. You know, it's not as overt.
So I think, to like throw it out there, the movie is about a monster. It's about this Wendigo thing.
And there's a lot of themes throughout the movie that go with this, with the Wendigo, and the idea that the whole city is decaying. There's not just like physically, but there's morally, there's moral decay. There's just a little hint about white supremacy on the radio you hear in the background. Just there's lots of bad stuff going on.
Now that I'm thinking about it,
and also the history, there's history repeating.
Yeah, well, it's yes. I mean, it boils down to it's all. Like, if you think about the mythology in the Three Bears, this is a mythology about child molesters and child molestation. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like this is its own version of that. Yeah. Because here is all of these different, like, the Three Bears. What does that represent? What is, like, the witch that lives in the house, or the big bad wolf? What do those things really represent? And the same thing with this story was like, what does the Wendigo really represent here? Yes, it's like this Native American cultural piece, yes, but in this particular story, it's also representative of this evil that can be inside people. And when you were talking about like the corruption of the community, it made me think of the father. They grew up in that town, and the father was sick then, and how it kind of like spreads. And with the Wendigo, like that sickness spreads. Yeah, there's just so many things. It's hard to like go about this, like It's hard to talk about this film in a straight line because there's just so many different things that come together. It's a very intense movie, and if you want to have a movie to think about, I think you've got a lot of meat here. No pun intended, because there's a lot of meat.
Yeah, and it works. Honestly, I think it works as a monster movie. It's very brutal. There's kind of a rise of theatrically released brutal horror movies. I think,
that's true.
Because normally you wouldn't see like this is like pretty intense, the monster stuff and the deaths, and even just thematically, like it's I'll just say there's death of children and stuff in the movie. I mean, it's we used to not really see a lot of the stuff in a movie that would be at the theater.
Definitely. One of the things was very, there's a word, I like Lovecraft, but they use this word Lovecraftian, but I really think it's more John Carpenter. I'd like to give those films, I know he didn't make the effects.
No, but
but it is very much like the thing.
Yeah. Where it's almost alien how weird the monster is.
The monster is crazy.
I don't want to get to the end yet, but there's something about the end.
Yes. I know what you're talking about, right?
Yes. Just amazing, I think.
It was so great. I wish it stayed.
Yeah.
I didn't get like...
Yeah.
It was so...
Yeah.
Yeah. It is great. I think the movie is great in so many ways. I think even if you didn't want a movie to like think about
exactly. To me, that's what makes such the movies I like a lot, like The Thing. You can watch it just as a monster movie. You can watch it. I mean, to me, the acting's great. It looks great. And then you can look more into the movie. Same thing with The Thing. The same thing with this. There's a lot of depth to it.
But like the father in the beginning, because I had no idea where this was going to go. So you've got the kid. You got the setup of like, okay, there's a kid who's something happened with the father. But when you go in the house is like, I mean, the dad was like impoverished.
Yeah, and there's a picture of him when life was good, and they all look really happy with the mom.
I don't know why I didn't see that.
Yeah, and he folds the picture down to cut you can see the dad in the picture, but it's the two sons, the mom and the dad. And it's probably back, when he was working and everyone had jobs.
So the house that they're in is decrepit, and it's like a little off the. I mean, it's very woodsy there, so I'm sure that there's a lot of houses that are a little bit spaced out, but it just looks like abandoned, and the inside looks abandoned. They did a really good job with the people coming in with the smell, like they smell it.
Yeah,
but so if you have
how do you get across? How do you get that across? Like in a movie, you can't smell.
Yeah, but when
there's a little bit of the flies you hear, but not overly. It gives you that sense that this is a nasty place.
But then to think about it as more of like the layers of this analogy or the metaphor is that the boy doesn't smell it because he's used to it.
Right.
So like the idea of being around something so much that it's just like, it's just your world. You're just, so.
And trying to excuse it.
Yeah. So there's the house, the boy survives. Like you see he goes in the mine shaft and you think, oh, the boy should die, but then there's no movie because you've seen the trailer and the boy's in it. And so he's in the house and he's like, oh, he killed the skunk. And it's like, why did he kill the skunk?
Yeah. At first you're like, oh, that sucks. This little kid's killing animals, but you realize he's doing it to feed his brother and his dad.
Yeah, because there's like scratching and craziness, and there's like one door that's got all these locks and like
and the bag.
And one bag, yeah, that's right. Which he must have grabbed, I guess.
Yeah, well,
he did the research.
Yeah, you see in his desk, he has a book about myths, monsters, and traps too. Traps and stuff. Cool.
So yeah, you see, like you hear the dad. It's the dad, and he's like flipping out, like rabid, like he just seems rabid. He's just and he's all nasty looking, like the little bits you see. Teacher early in the movie realizes that this kid's there's problems here with this kid, and she tries to befriend him and brings him to an ice cream shop and buys him some ice cream instead of trying to joke around and be all buddy. And it comes up about where's your father?
What's your father doing? Yeah. And he knows what she's going for. Yeah. Just he's not happy.
Yeah, but she asked, like, well, where does your brother go to school? And he's like, oh, he's at home with dad.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, he's at home with dad. What is that all about?
Mm-hmm. We do see a little bit later on the flashback of when they build the room. Mm-hmm. And it's the dad. And I love that scene because it's like the last shred of humanity for the dad. He's like trying to protect his kids. Like he knows something's happening to him. And so lock me up. It's almost like Wolfman, lock me up.
Yeah, he's saying, Daddy's really sick. I'm really, really sick. And you can see he's like starting to get like if you watch the zombie movie and someone's starting to
almost like 30
tweak it out and shit.
30 days later or something.
Yes. So, he's starting to get all, he's getting black vein things going on.
Which, that's nice too, because it's the spread, like the movie itself, yeah. And then the son, the younger kid, starts.
He's 7.
He starts to get sick too, and the dad has a little. He's worse, but he has a little bit of sense to him yet, and he pulls the little kid in there because he knows that he shouldn't be out there with Lucas either.
Yeah, or the world.
The world, yeah.
So the cops start finding bodies.
Yeah, and they're really just ripped to hell, and It's a cool scene when the guy's like, "This is, these are," because they just assume it's animals, and he's like, "No, these are human."
Yeah,
bodies.
the coroner looks at the bodies and it's like, "This is really disturbing because on this, radius or whatever bone it's on."
Yeah,
and they really do. They look like they went through like a wood chipper.
Yeah,
just
it's brutal, nasty,
and great.
Oh yeah, the effects are amazing. I've seen a few movies that mention Wendigo. To me, this is by far the best Wendigo movie I've seen.
I would want to know. It does make me want to know more about the
actual legend.
The actual legend, yeah. I'd like to think they were very respectful and
because it's in the Pet Sematary book and a little bit in the new movie, which I thought was terrible.
So the movie is just. I mean, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I loved it. When you first see the dad kill the one, I don't know if she's a teacher or she's like the
principal.
The principal. She finally goes to the house to check it out, and she sees the brother, and he's like, "Oh my God, what has he done to you?" And then the dad just jumps on her and brutally kills her, rips her throat, bites her,
sucks her eyeball out.
Yeah.
You see like a piece snap.
Very animalistic, where he's shaking his head while he bites and spits. It's great. And then it just gets really weird. He starts to transform, and his arms are kind of like breaking back. And then
there's this weird glow too. And the first time I saw the glow earlier in the movie, Lucas goes to feed the two of them in the attic. I think it's the attic. It was the upstairs. Yeah. And the father, like, you see some like glow from the inside of his chest, and he's like, I don't know how I feel about that. But you see it so briefly, I couldn't really have a full opinion. And I kept seeing the glow in his chest. I'm like, I don't know about that. And then it was fine. I just...
Yeah, I think you definitely need it near the end for how they defeat the beast. And it's probably part of the legend, I assume. But then the thing just busts out of him, and that thing...
It comes out of his mouth?
Yeah,
the
antlers...
There's some kind of bug that does that. There's some kind of insect that will get in its host and like burst out. And they did use the word host. The native sheriff dude, Native American sheriff guy, he was talking about how the Wendigo, it's like whatever is kind of possessed by this Wendigo being, you are constantly hungry but can never eat enough. And the more you eat, the more you want to eat. And that's when you're at your weakest, is when you're in that state. And that when a being becomes weak enough, that's the time you'd be able to kill it by like getting its heart. But then it'll move to another host. And
so the idea is it just won't die. It'll just keep going and going and going.
So the brother and sister are kind of like a duo in this whole thing, where she pushes him because he's like trying to be a sheriff and trying to keep everybody calm. Like there's a bully that goes missing, and the mother is, they found a body of an adult, and then her son is missing, and the sheriff's kind of like, everything's going to be okay, and the teacher sister is there, and she's like, no, like there's no way, this tiny town, these things are not related, come on, like stop. Yeah. And he's like, what do you want me to do? Just be like, oh, he's probably dead. Like, what are you going to say? Right. So he's trying his best. But so they're pretty much side by side, even though there's all this tension between them. They're trying to like figure out what's going on with Lucas. Where's the father?
He represents, a lot of these movies, like he's trying to go by logic and reason. And I always like that in movies. Like, what point does someone just give in to this is not, something, this isn't just an animal, or this isn't something.
Now that you say that, I think he's kind of like the portrait of denial.
Interesting.
Because he's just like, no, this can't be real.
This can't be real. That's a good point. Probably put it for his whole, not even just the monster part. But,
absolutely.
Because he still has pictures up of the dad in his house.
Yeah. And all the excuses for why I can't do this. Why
and we
can't
see
I
that
tell
other
this person? Why can't I tell that person?
Yeah.
I had a thought when I was thinking through of like the order of things happening and who dies and whatnot, that the bully dies, and looking back, like you see, so Lucas is in the classroom and he is like clearly stands out from the rest of the kids. He's very scrawny, and they bring it up later. He's very malnourished, and he has no one feeding him.
Yeah.
So he's
He's a really good child actor too.
Oh yeah, amazing. So he's sitting at his desk doing crazy drawings and stuff, and you see this other kid is like trying to get his attention. He's much bigger, and he's got a sock monkey. He's pretending like doing rude things, and you don't know that it's Lucas's sock monkey at first. Yeah. But then I think then that came back to me. It's like that's just another. It's almost like, well, where do kids get ideas like that? Sometimes kids are just kids,
right?
And you just. The culture or whatever, but then I thought, well, maybe that's really that's part of this community. Is that what if this kid is being molested, and that's why he has this idea to do this with the monkey and to be nasty like that? So it just seems like the more and more I think about it, the more that is like pervasive throughout the entire film.
And then Lucas kills the monkey, saws his
head off.
Yeah. Which is kind of part of the theme too, is these things, with the cycles, things get broken, and maybe it can't be fixed. So maybe in his mind, the monkey can't be fixed now after it was being molested, so he kills him.
That's very sad. Oh, telling the story in class, that was one of the first times.
Oh, yeah, when he writes the myth. His own fable.
Yes. She comes in as a new teacher, and she's talking about mythology, how important mythology is, et cetera, et cetera. And so before they go to recess is come back and be ready to write. So they're all the kids are writing, and they've got these notepads so they can draw and do stuff. And there's this one girl who answers everything. And so she calls on him and says, would you like to share your story? And so he starts sharing it, and it's about three bears. Like the girl who did this had said the three bears before. And you see it through like the camera, our perspective. You could see the drawings, which the teacher cannot see.
Right.
And they're these really amazing, like brilliant drawings of like evil killer bears. And he's talking about how there are the three bears. There's the big bear, the little bear, and the baby bear. And that the big bear gets sick. Is the story of his family.
Okay, yeah.
And so the teacher is really disturbed, but, isn't going to like cut in because that you can kind of tell from the temperature of the room that the children don't really know what this might mean, but the teacher kind of has an idea, like there's something's really wrong with this kid's family. Why would he telling the story? This is really dark.
Yeah.
So she kind of does cut him off before he keeps going, and he said, but he stopped. Like, he continued enough to say that they're together. Mm-hmm. Like, that was very important for him to, like, tag on, because he could have just sat down and be like, I'm done with the story.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even really done telling the whole story, but his important point to drive home was that the three bears were together, and that's why the little bear kept doing what he was doing and feeding the other two bears. The art is so cool.
It looks awesome, and it also at the same time does look like something that a kid could have drawn. Talented kid, but because sometimes you see stuff like this and it looks like it had to have been done by like some like like an adult, like who's like an art degree or something. But it has the feel that like a kid would have drawn it.
And the bears are so cool because they show like there's regular bears, and then the bears that are all bloody and messed up, they all have like a hole in their stomach. Mm-hmm. And the hole in their stomach is because you feed them and they never get full.
Right. Which is interesting because even when its full-time monster has it's all scrawny in the stomach. Mm-hmm. And even in the old picture, I don't know if the picture that the native sheriff had, if that was like from an actual book or.
Oh, I don't know.
But it does look just like it.
Yeah. So it's very cool. Mm-hmm. So he's drawing all these crazy things all the time.
Yeah, and he talk about excuses. He always says that his dad still loves him. He's just sick, and he's always excusing it, even near the end. He was
telling the story based off of his drawings, and some of the levels of graphic detail in the drawings, he's not describing that.
Yeah,
which I thought was kind of interesting because usually you'd have it be very like. Written down and it would be direct, and for him to not tell the whole thing is like he's seeing something and only tells part of the story, and that part of the story is like
probably knows that like I can't say there's certain things I can't say to the teacher and the other kids. They'll know that this is too far.
Yeah.
And also when he's doing a lot of research with the myths, a lot of that is done with with artwork, like visual storytelling.
During recess, he put shit in the bully's backpack.
Yeah.
I wonder if that has any meaning. Because it feels like everything I start to think about it has meaning, but I don't know if that does.
Yeah.
Bully's an asshole.
Yeah, he is.
So
He's an asshole. Yeah, he tries to make him eat it.
Awful.
Mm-hmm.
Awful.
And I will say when the dad finally does completely turn, he does kill the bully. Now, is that still a part of? Is it just because he's there, or is that a little bit of the humanity left trying to protect his son?
And you know that the kid is feeling that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kid is questioning.
Yeah.
See, then I go spiraling into is that like I know not everything is an analogy, but thinking about like what if the kid came over their house? I don't know. Like people aren't safe.
Yeah, well, even the little brother is, still has his mind, and he's in there with the vicious dad, and who's eating things, but he doesn't eat the kid. It doesn't attack.
No.
It doesn't, rip him apart.
And the boys, so there's Aiden. Aiden is a little 7-year-old, and he's kind of cute. So the dad's always like fiending off on the side, and of this attic space. So Lucas comes up and feeds them a bunch of like meat, like skunk meat, and random.
Like he finds like a raccoon that's probably rancid and like roadkill kind of thing, or eaten by some type of animal.
And so you progressively kind of see how, as he goes up the stairs, like as the days pass, bringing them food, Dad is getting more and more. They're both getting more sick.
Right.
So,
but the dad's getting really vicious.
And one time, like you could tell Lucas is testing to see how sick the brother is because he tries giving him like candy.
Yeah.
And he gets like a bloody tear, and then he starts coughing up.
Yeah.
Maybe not even blood, but like whatever. Yeah, like this is just what happens, part of the progression.
Yeah.
And then I thought that's really sad. So is that like talking about how like this can be passed down for people who've been, taken advantage of by adults, and that's
the cycle that happens. I mean, it happens. I think that's a big theme of the movie: the cycles of and how things affect people, even if it's not a cycle, and how it breaks people.
Yeah,
and if they can be fixed or not.
And that was really upsetting.
Mm-hmm. There's also part there too, and then Lucas goes after he feeds him, and he can hear his little brother crying and whimpering, saying, "I'm hungry, please help."
Yeah,
and he puts on these big like industrial earphones, just to block out the noise, and it's like that's like heartbreaking.
It's so sad. Yeah, the father and Aiden are locked there, so that's horrible. And then he has like a dog. Like he's basically like camped in front of this door, listening to whatever is going on, like the craziness that's going on between the father and the little brother. So he hears that, puts that on, and then he's got like this very realistic baby doll.
Yeah, looks like he might have found it somewhere because it's like kind of rotten.
It makes me think of him wanting to be comforting to his brother when he can't be. Yeah. So he's got like this representation of that made me really sad about that. It's sad. I mean,
it's a very sad emotional movie.
I think it's something that we were saying, like you can watch it just for a horror movie, but if you start thinking about this stuff, like
it's not a fun
trigger warning to be honest, because it's a lot of it is really hard when you start. I mean, some of it I think is pretty overt. It's like not even. I think you'd have to be really slow. Sorry, but
like some people you might have heard talking about.
Oh my god, yeah. Afterwards, we split to like just use the restroom, and I went into the restroom, and there's like a bunch of girls in there talking about the movie and saying how just basically like how there's no real meaning to it, and they're supposedly. And they're just like crapping on the movie, like they don't understand it. And then I don't want to say what I said when I walked out the door because it's part of. It wasn't rude. I was saying something about like what the movie, like where the movie ended up going. I made a comment and then I left. So we'll get there.
Yeah.
A little further along into what we're talking about.
Right.
So the brother, the idea of like this little boy is now sick, and once you're sick with this, you don't. And the teacher says later, you don't get better.
Yeah.
And the idea, like this boy is 7, and the idea of this 7-year-old, if you take the metaphor and be like, so the 7-year-old is now sick forever. You cannot get
There's no
better.
redeeming. There's no fixing.
Yeah, it's so sad. It's awful.
So they talk to the old sheriff.
That's the sister and the cop brother.
Yeah.
The sister, the teacher sister, and the cop brother.
And so then that's when you really get the history of the Wendigo.
Yeah. Why did they go to that guy particularly? Because they went to him because he found the adult body in the woods. That's right.
The partial body.
Ripped. Yeah. That was the friend from the mine. That's right.
So you find that, and then he explains about the bags hanging down, and then so then they bring the drawings to him.
From Lucas's drawings, yeah.
And he assumes that it's a native because they know the Wendigo story, and so that's cool because you get to hear the history of the Wendigo myth.
It's just a sad movie. But at one point, he's not even... So he's making traps and stuff like that. You see him out in the woods, and he's got his little string thing. He's getting it set up. So he's got a knife, and he's in class, and he's not drawing. He's like whittling.
He whittles like an eagle or some kind of...
It's like it looked like it was a bird,
but
and
then
it ended up being like a Wendigo from the illustration, and he's doing it throughout class, and ends up having these really sharp teeth, and he puts little sticks in for antlers, and he presses the teeth into himself and draws blood. It's horrible. Oh my god.
Yeah, and that's intercut with the Wendigo killing somebody, I believe. When we talked earlier about when the Wendigo really busts out of the dad and comes out of the mouth, and when they find the body though, it's all like singed and burnt.
Yeah, they say that it looks like it's been burnt, but it looks like I was just saying, it kind of looks like a scab, or like if you've seen, it doesn't even look like a snake shed. It looks like if you've seen like an insect, like a tarantula will leave like a crust. It's like a crust behind. At first, I couldn't even really tell what the fuck is this. Like I couldn't even make sense of it. Yeah. And then you could see like how it is. It's like the crust. It's got teeth and skull pieces, like as if it had broken out. Like you see it blow out through his face, so whatever was on the outside just it's cool. It's like amazing. It's great, the effects team of many people, like
when you see the room kind of lit up and all the blood, it's never too lit up, but you see all the blood stains everywhere on the walls, and then you see
when the principal goes into that, it's really like because that's when you first realize, I think, the stink.
Yes,
she's the first person.
The time that they've had to be in here
with all the meat, and not clean. The lights don't work.
They assume also they have to be, defecating in this room.
They're just animals. That was like we were talking about the denial. The principal was terrible because the teacher keeps going to people, goes to her brother who's a cop, goes to the principal, is like, there's something's wrong with this family. We need to investigate. We need to check it out. And the principal's like, this is the way the town is. Like, people are poor and are doing drugs. And
you get so desensitized to it that you just look the other way.
And the cop brother had said, you bring in the human services people and they check out the family. So the father was known, he's known as a dealer. Right. Like, this is something he does, and everyone in the community, the people that the cops know and the people in the positions of power know that these two boys are living with a man who's cooking meth. And that the children services people came and decided that that's the best they can do, which is awful. But I mean, really, I work with a lot of that kind of thing.
Right.
And kids end up staying with their shit families. Or there's some really bad things that happen in foster homes, which is horrible. So it's like, what can you do? And it is a question, like, what can you do? Because
is he better off, like, in a foster thing, like you said,
this will go
or with, at least this is his father, you know.
So, yeah, and that's a real society thing. It's like, what do you do? I see it, like, every time I'm at work. What happens with these kids? What happens with kids? What's going to happen to them if they stay?
Well, that's part of this movie too. Is that they, what are we going to do with Lucas now?
Because she wants to take him in, and the cop brother is like, "No, we can't do that. We can't do that."
And his reasoning is not. It's not like he's just like, "Oh, like I don't want to spend the money or something." He says near the end, it's like raising like a lion cub. Like, what is he going to grow into? And that could mean the monster thing, but it could just mean look what he's come from, and is he going to be? Is he just like everyone else? Is he totally broken that he's not going to be like? Yeah, he's a cute little kid, but at the same time he'll be a man eventually.
And I mean,
really, interesting. We'll get to the very last line. But
so I think we're basically up to the part where the monster is out.
Yeah, he gets out. Because the not only does the principal go there, she unlocks it, which other people have done, but she takes the bag down, so then he can get out.
The bag down.
I think that's really the last thing that stopped it from the dad actually getting out.
She was definitely one of the people in horror movies that you're like, stop.
Yeah.
She like goes in, like it's a scary house. She like just barely pushes the door open, and she hears like she hears all this shit.
Like screw that.
Yeah, I think she did, didn't she? No, the teacher heard it and pushed the door open. But anyways, the principal's in there, and it's clearly not safe at all. It's like sketchy, nasty place, and she's seeing like blood.
At the same time, if you do think a little kid's there, you can understand someone. You should
call the police. Be like, hey, police, come on over.
But if you see the kid there, like you probably would like want to help him right away.
911, come here, come to me. I guess. I don't know. I wouldn't have gotten that far. I wouldn't have been going up the like smeared stairs.
But you have to accept some stuff.
Yes, exactly. It certainly is not just. It is a movie with a horror story, so there are things that are going to happen. That aren't just analogies for things. And her death was really.
Yeah, just brutal.
Yeah, the eyeball suck thing was really... I think they did it well where you could see something like that and feel like they did it just to do it. And they did. But
it does get across how animalistic he's at this point. Rips the throat out, kills her right away. And then,
The police end up finding the body of the bully in the woods.
That one you don't see.
You do not.
But we've seen enough by this point, so you could get gratuitous with the movie, but you get the idea. It's bad time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they said, tell me this was because it's on the train tracks.
Yeah, he's like, tell me. Even at this point, he's still trying to find a way out of this being either a monster or a total lunatic, killing and eating people.
Mother tries to tell, because she tried to bond with Lucas earlier, by saying her mom was dead, which did work. Like, he did pay attention to that and wanted to know a little bit more. So it's not like he's not responding at all to her. There is like a little bit of bonding. And then she said to him, with the hospital thing after that, well, I just wanted to let you know that my father also died. And she tried to say to him that his father was dead, and he's like,
no, that was my old father.
Yeah, that was the mean father.
Yeah, and now he's the new father.
Yeah, and he asked her, like, didn't you love your dad? Why weren't you here when he was sick?
Yeah,
and she doesn't want to be like, because my dad molested me and he was a horrible human being.
Right.
But it's so funny to even saying that he was a horrible human being. I don't think you really see anything of the father being decent, of her father being decent.
Right.
But like you're saying, the kid's father is like still trying to provide and still trying to look out for them. It's tough to know like what things, like I was saying earlier, what things are analogy and what things are just part of this the horror story.
Yeah, because it's easy to say that this guy's a drug dealer and he's terrible, but at the same time, if you find out the coal mines are down, it could be he's got these 2 kids and he needs to do something to provide for them.
So then the monster is loose. The monster is out of the attic, closet, whatever. It's killing. It's on a rampage.
Yeah, it's killing the one cop, buddy. Just getting near the end of the movie.
We are getting near the end of the movie. So the Wendigo thing. So all right, but the friend cop is patrolling the house while the brother cop, sheriff, is out trying to get things done.
You're right. What's that?
The sweet pen.
Oh, whoa. This is creepy. It's like, I thought she was wanting me to shoot up.
That would be weird for the movie.
It would be.
Sorry, but...
This is pretty sweet, though. I love it. It's a pen, and it looks like,
Yes.
I like it very much.
Don't leak all over your stuff.
Right.
It seems pretty solid, but I don't know how easy it would be to...
I'll put it in one of the compartments, so it's not with everything. But thank you. I like it.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you. Well, happy Halloween. It's been a very cool Halloween.
It has.
So let's finish Antlers.
So Antlers. Yeah. I only said something then because I was playing it. I'm like, oh shit, he saw it. Oh. So now I'll give it to you. Here you go. All right. So Aiden is in the barn thing, who again is kind of like a lure.
That's very true.
Because he's out there, and then the cop is distracted from the house, where the teacher is trying to console and try to explain to Lucas your father is dead. The end.
Yeah.
So
he gets mauled by the Wendigo.
Yes.
Brutally killed.
That was I jumped wicked.
I did too. Even the second time I saw it, yeah.
I laughed at myself because I jumped.
I did too. I was like, whoa. And I know people have this they hate jump scares. And I get the idea of a movie that's all jump scares, but I don't know. I don't know.
Sometimes
I think it's fun.
It's a time and a place where things are scary because there's sudden, and it made sense. Surprise! It was scary.
Yeah, it was.
How else would you it makes sense for the story?
Yeah.
How else would you film it?
I agree. I just think it's a weird. It's a weird thing that people go off on for some reason, but no, it would totally work. Jump, and then it starts. The sheriff comes. And he starts to get mauled.
Yeah, he lucked out because Wendy was in the barn, again, trying to find the kid.
Yeah. One of my very few problems with the movie, that I really hardly have any, is when he is mauling the sheriff, because he totally obliterates everyone else. Yeah. And I know he grabs a little pole, but he doesn't really do too much to it to defend his way off and not get destroyed. And then he just kind of hits the back of the thing and just walks away. I'm not exactly sure why.
Oh, I thought basically to leave the sharp part of the... Oh, you mean the Wendigo?
Yeah, because the Wendigo just kind of hits, because he doesn't kill it or really hurt it very much.
I thought he stabbed it.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like it does too much, because then he does that one big maul, then afterwards, and just walks away. It's not a big complaint. It's just if I found a little thing, I just thought because he totally obliterates everybody else.
Yeah, it would be. That he's only saved for the sake of the story. Mm-hmm. And then Lucas took off.
Yeah.
Lucas realized, because he hears the sounds of his dad, the Wendigo, and he just. So the teacher goes out and then finds her brother, who's been injured.
Yeah, he's not dead, he's hurt.
And she's like, I have to go get them, which is kind of again, it's why are you doing that yourself? But she's going to go. And
that's her character, though. Her character is very much, especially as the movie goes on.
Yeah, she's a hero. Mm-hmm. And she, make sure
the movie's about in different occasions, how you react to them, and her reaction is rising.
Yes. So she finds her brother. She kind of props him up and is wanting to get him help, but he says, "You're not going to leave me behind again." Right.
You're right. Yeah. Very good line. I like the dynamic between the two characters because it's it's nuanced. It's not it's not all negative or all positive. Mm-hmm. It's a realistic, I think, a relationship between brother and sister who have gone through traumatic events.
Yes. I just thought that was really,
it goes in with the line I brought up earlier.
Mm-hmm. So, to the caves.
Which again, it's like Lucas and Aiden. Lucas isn't leaving his brother behind. And,
so you're back in the mine shaft, and she gets there, and she's got her brother. God bless her. They got in the vehicle and got there, and so she's poking around trying to find the kids.
The reveal when she finds them, they're together.
Yeah, because up until now, even though the cops got gored, you only see like this big, almost like mutant moose horns.
Yeah, you're not exactly sure what's going on.
If you are familiar with Studio, you're not yourself. Studio Ghibli has this great movie that you might actually enjoy called Princess Mononoke, and there's a spirit. I really hope you will put it over this, the spirit of the forest, because it's like the nice version of this creature.
Oh, really? Interesting.
You'll please put it up.
All right, I'll do that. And so yeah, and Lucas is like, he's here, the dad's here, and so the reveal of the dad at this point, the Wendigo, is fantastic. And then there's one bit to it that I just love.
Well, it's like slow because they're showing like the fingers on this freaky
it's a great
arm.
reveal
Like
of
it's like just this way bigger than a man.
Yeah, and
it's a monster.
This is a monster because it's not a man. It's not an animal either because it's bipedal sometimes, and it's very otherworldly looking. And then to top it all off, it's wearing the mask of the father. It's wearing the father's face as a mask, and I just thought that was great because is it still trying to pretend at this? Because at this point, I don't think there's any father left.
I think that was just.
Is this still trying to fool the Lucas that it's still its dad at some level to use him?
I don't know.
But it's a really weird and great.
It's really wild because it's like partially on his face. Well, because it burst out of this guy's body, and so it's kind of like stringily. I feel like it's like the last remnants hanging on. That it's not intentionally placed. It's like just been left. That's the
I felt like it's off. Like so we're talking about the decay of humanity in the movie and the moral decay and all this, the corruption, and at some point then it's just like you're no longer human, you're just human on the outside, and this is the last remnants of that. Exactly.
That's why I'm thinking it might not be that he's doing it on purpose, because he was trying to look out for the kids in his way, and that it was just like, but then when it takes it off, but it's just so creepy and fantastic. It really was. It's very creepy. I think that could have.
I think that's one of the best monster reveals in movies to me.
It's wonderful. I kind of wish the face stayed there. So I don't know if symbolically if there's a reason that they took it off, because I think it looked great. Maybe it's just hard to animate. No, there's no way, because the thing was amazing.
Maybe it's the last shred and now it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
But it doesn't. I would have kept the two of us very cool.
Yeah. So she is the hero. She knows
she rises.
To do.
And there are sometimes in movies like this, get to the end and the person rises and fights a monster. I'm not necessarily with it, but I'm with it this time. I believe she's been through all this. She's fighting for things that happen to her. She doesn't want things to happen to Lucas, and she's going to beat this monster.
She was awesome. She found some shaft.
Yeah,
metal pole.
She's very unbelievable at this point.
She really is. She's slim, but. Yeah, she's. It
really feels like someone who's gone through so much, and now this is either flight or either she's going to get killed or she has to kill this, and she rises to the occasion.
And she went there with. It's not like she went there with the intention she's going to kill this monster. It wasn't just I'm going to save these kids. It's I'm going to kill this monster because
and you're rooting for it because even though the monster looks awesome, there's no way you're going to watch this. You'd be you'd be demented if you're I want the monster to win at this point.
Yeah, because it's a very, there's movies that we watch where there are, anybody that watches horror movies, a lot of times we like the villains who are horrific, but this is, the tone is
Mm-hmm.
It's not haha joke.
No.
I don't find it haha jokey.
No, me neither.
Like if you watch like Driller Killer, that is Coolidge or something like that.
Yeah.
Even Freddy, like they allude in a way that he's a child molester, murder, whatever. It's still, this is very, it's different. It's so different because it's the entire story.
Mm-hmm. Well, by the way, I think we totally forgot Nightmare on Elm Street 3 played on the
oh yeah,
it's one of the main movies,
right?
Yeah, it could have been a headliner because that's like a lot of people's favorites. But anyway. So she kills it, and not only she kills it, they have to rip the heart. Not just rip the heart out, but they have to extinguish the heart. Yeah. You really needed that element earlier in the film. Now,
she's just destroying this thing.
The kid helps. Lucas helps because he brings a knife and stabs him.
Yeah. And then it's on the ground, and she's just like...
Yeah, she becomes she's like vicious at this point, almost like the monster earlier. But she has to be, And so and she's burning her own hands to rip the heart out. Which I
this
like that.
Glowing cavity.
Yeah, and she's
putting
the pain aside to destroy this.
Which I thought the glowing then made sense because it's like this burn. They talked about how the like shell of him was burnt out because this thing like burnt through, and this is like the glowing hot core of this evil beast. So then that is like she pulls it out. Which is like
with her bare hands,
clump. It's like a nasty clump.
Yeah.
And then it's just there. She doesn't really do anything to the clump, does she?
No, I think just pulling it out, it extinguishes it.
Yeah. So the giant monster, and I think it goes pretty fast. It's kind of a quick fight, but I feel like it was just
it's probably warranted. It's because it might get unbelievable if it's a long fight with the giant monster. Yeah, it's a very, very weird kind of. There's a little bit of Pumpkinhead to it to me. It's a little bit of it. There's a good call. There's a lot of... actually, the whole movie has I don't know if anyone's familiar with Lisey's story from Stephen King. Has a lot of similar elements to me. Especially with the father and the son. But anyway, I just read my friend Robin recommended it. I listened to the audiobook. Very good. But yes, kills it. And then to top it off, that's not the end though, because now Aiden is glowing, and Aiden now is like to go.
Like kind of like the dad was when he was about to cough up this giant explosive horn beast.
And Lucas wants to protect it, like he's just sick and he's going to get better.
Yeah.
And she just has to talk to him and say, no, it's it's not going to get better.
And as a viewer, you can see her trying to communicate this like she has to do something now.
Yeah, because she's made up her mind she's going to kill him. But she says it's important that that this is the right thing to do.
And that he's not going to get better. Which that's a really controversial thing. Because it's meant to be like, this is the illness of pedophilia. And is a person, once that's in them, once that's locked in you as a part of like your development as a human being. Because that's something you could be exposed to and not necessarily like that's your path. Like Lucas, that's like to me,
that's what saves Lucas.
Yeah.
Is because if Lucas did know that, then he'd be the next one to go. But Lucas knows, okay, it has to end. If he didn't, I think he would be then. Because then it would continue to end. Because then he would hold that against her.
I could see that. But it really is very sad because he has a love for his brother. He wants him to still be like to go back to the baby doll, my little brother, and kind of like undo all this darkness and save like this kid who he's been looking out for. And slowly seeing him like feeding him the candy or whatever the hell it was, and he gets sick. So he knows that he's got to go, but doesn't want to believe it because you don't want to believe those things about the people that you love. And so she goes over to this little like shirtless boy who's like gulping like he's about to die.
Almost like Tell Me the Rabbit scene from Mice and Men. Only reverse because she tells Lucas to look away.
Yeah, sad. And so she embraces him and has the knife.
And she's very sorry, and it's again rising to the occasion though. She does what She was heroic, killing the big monster, and this is its own heroic thing as well.
But controversial.
Yeah.
Like, does that mean that, if this happens and this is part of your development, are you then cursed for life that this is just, you're going to end up being this monster and do monstrous things?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the different ideas about, well, what does that mean as far as, like, can you be, like, a pedophile and not act on it?
Right.
And then what does that mean? And then are you still the monster anyway? There's just so many different... That's a big argument.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big topic.
Yeah. There's a really good short story I saw about that topic.
Is it
really
just
good.
Like a docu kind of thing? Like
no, it's a sci-fi. Very interesting about... we saw... It was at Second Wrong Film Festival last year. It was... It's almost like a Black Mirror episode to me, and it's like the not too distant future, and there's a guy, you don't know why he's kind of like looked down upon by everybody, and he's in this room, and but anyway, you find out that they make him like an artificial child to have sex with because he's a pedophile.
Oh wow!
And then it's the whole idea. It was like,
wow, is that right okay? Yeah. Oh dear, that's
because he's not doing anything to someone. It's really well made, and I think brave not only to make it, brave by the actors to start it. That's a lot of questions. Good. Very good.
Very, very intense. So then you find and then it goes a little bit. I think 3 weeks after this happened, and you find out that the brother and the sister, the sheriff and the teacher, they're still talking about what are they going to do with Lucas. She's saying, we're going to keep him, and that's when the brother has a line about it's like the lion cub. Like, what is he going to grow into? Right now, he's cute, but does he grow up to be a monster? You can take a few different ways. Like I said, does he grow up to be the actual Wendigo? Is he going to be the actual Wendigo? Or is he, which again, the Wendigo's an analogy, but in this movie, is he going to grow up to be Wendigo? Or is he going to grow up to be, a bad person just because of all these things? A sick person.
The sick person. That's true. They never say bad person, the sick person. Very good. That's actually very important distinction.
And being able to think about it, is this like, even as far as people who would get into all these different things, because throughout the whole movie there's the pedophilia piece, and then the criminal stuff and drug stuff and all these different things. So what is bad versus what is sick?
Yeah, very good. And then so you find out, and then so the brother's coughing up. This is the very end, and he's got the black stuff coming out of his eye. But he also says he's like, "Are you going to be able to kill something you love?" Which, when he's saying it about Lucas, the brother
says it to her.
Yeah, because when about keeping Lucas, are you going to be able to kill something you love? But as it turned out, he might be talking to himself.
That's what I think. I think it was really, really upsetting to think about, like, maybe he didn't want Lucas to be with him for another reason. Maybe he didn't want to have a boy in the home. That's very thought. True. That's why he started to have all the Wendigo stuff start to happen to him. And it goes back to, like, their own abuse history with their father. And then, the idea of this tiger cub becoming a man, that happened to him. That he was the tiger cub of his own father, his own abusive father. And I was just like, oh, this is terrible. What the hell? It's not feel good. It's like,
it's definitely not.
It's not. No. Like, even if the pedophile stuff wasn't in it, the idea that the brother is now sick is sad. But I really do think it's like, I feel very strongly that it's about how this single cop with no family of his own other than his sister, who lived with his father, it sounds like their entire life. And I feel very strongly that that's what they're setting about, that Lucas is going to come into their home because they are now going to all live together, and that's now that temptation is there that it didn't have before. And that's been like a part of like the backdrop of the whole movie, is him being in denial and is he in denial of himself? And now that he has this,
interesting.
Crushes me to think about.
Yeah, just to me was great. I saw it the other day, and I knew we were going to see. I didn't know exactly when, so I went to see it. And then after I saw it, I was like, "Oh, we have to do this for dinner movie." I'm glad it worked out because I loved it. And I was pretty sure you would love it as well.
Yeah, it's one of those movies. I remember when we were interviewing Jörg.
Right?
Yes. And we were talking about how we love this one, like their anthology movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we said we enjoyed it, and they're like, "How can you enjoy this movie?" It's like, well, I can't say I love this movie because it's really upsetting.
Yeah, it is.
Really, there's like times where I was like, I don't know if I would watch it again. Maybe it's great.
I watched it twice already, but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
You saw it,
but I think I said this lots. I don't think it has to be a positive emotion to be evoked to be art, to be good art.
Oh yeah.
Any type of emotion, I think, that is evoked from something, a story, art of any kind. I think that's it's doing its whatever it's setting out to do.
Unless I'm annoyed.
Well, maybe.
But yeah, it was. I think masterfully made.
I agree. There's a lot to think about. So you can watch it just, there's wild things to look at, but there's a lot to the movie.
Yeah.
And because sometimes people say they don't make good horror movies anymore, but I don't know. I see so many good stuff in the last 10 years or so.
It's like when people say there's no good music, like, where are you looking?
Right.
It's not that the internet is a big place. There's lots of things to find. I think there's just so much stuff that it can become overwhelming to sort through and find good things.
True. Yeah, well, I mean, as it's easier to technically make a movie today. Anyone could make a movie if you can make it on your phone, but that also means there's a lot more stuff out there that you have to wait to find what's great. Mm-hmm. But I know for sure this is going on my top of the list movies of the next year or this year.
It's an amazing movie.
So how many severed heads?
I think it deserves. So it's funny because I was thinking about this, how we've been talking about like the enjoyment you get out of it. Right. That's why some things have had higher ratings than maybe I would have done in the past through the different lens. But I can't say I enjoyed it, but I think it was amazing and worth 5. Absolutely.
I agree 100% with what you just said. Yeah, 5P to me is great. I highly recommend
We're not doing P's anymore.
Oh, 5 severed heads and 5 P's. The hell, getting it all. I was very happy. My mom went to see it and she loved it too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And she said some old guy there. She's kind of old, but she said an old guy there was like telling her all about Guillermo del Toro, who made it, who produced it, and was recommending. She's like, "Have you ever heard of this movie, something Labyrinth?" I was like, "Yeah, Pan's Labyrinth."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, he told me I should see it." And I was like, "Oh, I know my son will know about it, so I'll find it. We'll watch it when I get back."
That's a great movie. I haven't seen that in years and years and years.
Yeah, so that'll be fun to revisit. But that was very cool. So,
is there a story for Guillermo del Toro's own past that he's out about? I'm not suggesting that that's the.
I don't know. There's a lot of. I know he produced this and didn't write or direct it, but there's a lot of his stories are about monsters and children and abuse of some kind. Mm-hmm. That is, he's drawn to that.
Yeah. So you never know. You never know.
I'm interested. I think it's a short story this is based on. It's called I don't know if it's Silent Boy, something like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
I think.
Or Quiet Boy or something.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in seeking that out as well.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. So sad. Very sad. That was really upsetting.
It was. Yep. But I got a little emotional talking about it.
Yeah, I was trying to when we first got out, and I'm like, well, I can't talk about it because of the movie, but I also want to talk about it because I'm going to melt down and be so sad. So, yeah.
And honestly, great performances. Everyone in the movie.
Yeah.
Everyone really played their character perfect. I think
Mm-hmm.
the older sheriff, the great child actors.
Yeah. Even the little boy. The
Yeah.
Even him choking, his eyes started turning colors. No, it was scary. Just hearing him, it's like you got to do it.
Yeah.
He's gonna be.
I'm really curious to see what the kid who plays Lucas goes on to do.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. He's got like a really his features are really unique.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you don't know where he's gonna go. Like some people. There's different looks that people have as child actors. Are they going to go like this pretty boy guy route? Are they going to become like more uniquely featured? And then where does that take your career? It matters, how you appear. It affects your career. Like there's like a Willem Dafoe who's objectively not a beautiful man with this brilliant career.
Yeah.
Yes. So whatever he does, I'll be interested to know.
Yeah. Willem Dafoe, that's one of my favorite. I want to see his new movie too, which is also produced by Del Toro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was wonderful. You hated Lighthouse, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Poor Lighthouse.
Maybe I should see it again. I don't know. I was not a fan. But I will say not always, because he's also with like an Aquaman and stuff. But his like non-mainstream big budget movies are always very interesting. But I think he's like some other actors. He does the Aquamans and stuff, so he can go and do all these other movies that are interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember when it's very funny, he was on Mark Maron's WTF podcast.
Yeah.
And Mark Maron kept asking about like Platoon, and he's like, you're just all about the tentpole movies, aren't you, buddy? Or something. I don't think he really like cares. I mean, I'm sure he's proud of Platoon and stuff, but he's probably talked about these movies a million times, and I think he's probably like, let's talk about something, a little more interesting to me.
He does so many great things. I remember seeing Shadow. Is it Shadow? The movie?
Yeah, I love that movie.
That's fantastic.
And now, speaking of Coolidge, I thought it was great. At the height of the pandemic, when I wasn't sure if the Coolidge was going to stay, Willem Dafoe did an interview with Mark to help raise funds for.
He did?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was online. You had to pay, whatever to see it. But I was like, wow, that's really wild. I think that's because I don't know. I doubt they really paid him. I think he just did it to really help out the theater. And that was
amazing.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for that.
Absolutely. Deserved. I
did see an interview, though. He did say that he actually fought to play Green Goblin.
Did he?
He really wanted to play the Green Goblin.
Well, it's kind of like Cronenberg wanted to be killed by Gibson. Like, they're people, too, so if this guy grew up, like, loving Green Goblin.
Yeah, he just wanted to play.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I wish they didn't have the mask.
Yeah.
He's so expressive and wonderful.
Yeah, when you see the test, like, they have tests.
Really?
Videos out. Way better. Way better without the mask. It's really strange. Who played Skeletor in Masters of the Universe? Frank Langella.
Yes.
So I saw an interview with Frank Langella. He's talking about all his famous roles. And his favorite role is Skeletor because his son's favorite toys were Masters of the Universe.
Aww.
And he wanted to play Skeletor.
That's awesome. Oh, that's great.
And I was like, this is great.
That's really cool.
Sometimes people think, why the hell is this guy playing, this stupid ass movie? And you're like, oh, okay, well, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes you do. You wonder, like, do they need the check?
Right.
Like, that's fine, because you need to make money. Like, if you're an actor, you have to work and do jobs.
Yeah.
So sometimes people might take something that they're like, But it's funny because some people take, like you were saying, when Dafoe would take like a Platoon, which objectively is some respectable movie to do the silly things.
Right. Yeah, because he's in a lot of wacky movies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and it's weird that he fought to play Green Goblin. It's weird that he had to fight to play the Green Goblin. You'd think like they're like, oh, well, but if I want to be in this, like, nah. We'll find.
We've got this really cool mask.
Yeah.
Let's find someone cheaper. It's cool.
Get The Rock.
I like The Rock.
I do like The Rock.
He seems like a nice guy.
He does.
Why isn't he in any more movies? Is he? I don't think so.
I guess The Mummy returns. Whatever, when he put in The Scorpion King. That's kind of sad to me, those movies. Like, people love those movies, but whatever.
I really wanted to like them, but
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Maybe if I revisit the Mummy series, then I'll be. No. I won't like it.
Worse. Even worse.
Really?
No, the CG is really poor.
I remember there's one scene where
a lot of those
the mouth opens up. And
a lot of those heavy CG movies do not age well. Where I think, maybe it's my age, but I think the effects heavy, like practical effects stuff, I mean, some of that's dated too, but it has a charm to it.
Yeah.
The bad CG, like even stuff that was probably good at the time, just looks poor. Like the prequel trilogy of Star Wars, like those are always terrible, but the CG in them, like even now, like oh my god, it looks so good.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I haven't probably seen them since forever ago, but yeah, I bet. But interestingly, when we saw Jason X, the opening scene CG was really good.
Yeah,
I was really surprised.
Yeah, honestly, that movie, I like the setup to it. I just wish it wasn't. It's kind of funny that it is. Like, we have this cool setup, it's a spaceship, all stuff, and then it's just the typical young adults having sex on a spaceship. I guess that's what the fans of the franchise want.
It's funny, though, because, like, the really old ones, I feel like the kids are at least a little bit like...
The dialogue's to me, is much better in the old... Even, I'm not saying they're, like, Academy Award-winning stuff.
But like Texas Chainsaw. That's old kids that are just screwing around in the woods and going to the water hole. I also think they're more realistic-looking people. Yes.
They're not all, like, supermodel, like, clearly, like...
But, like... Characters, everybody's very good looking, but in a way that's more like an actual good looking person that you would see just walking. Yes. Even in
but like look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, the acting in that, like Marilyn Burns when she's going into the Descent of Madness, I think that's up there as the best. Final girl, scream queen, whatever you want to call it, in horror movies. Yeah, like it's believable that she's going. That takes me out a lot of movies. And the 3D one, like I don't believe she's in danger at all at the end of the movie. Marilyn Burns, like Jesus, like this is like you feel that you're watching someone go insane.
She's amazing. I think part of it too that makes it work for some of the older ones, like even the original Friday the 13th, is that they're not just like completely just.
They're not trying, and they're not trying to be like this campy, stupid movie. Where I think some of the later stuff, that's like they're in on their own joke.
Yeah, but it's not enjoyable. I'd rather watch believable characters.
I agree 100%.
So I don't know if that's really amusing. I think there's just a bunch of dudes that are, looking to look at pretty girls and their boobies. Really? Like you can have like beautiful people doing things and have them be likable.
In the internet age, you could just Google this stuff and watch it. You don't have to even watch it in the guise of a movie.
It's true. Like you.
I don't know. Yeah. Whatever. I don't know. That's my opinion. Whatever you're into is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So is that the note to end?
Antlers, friggin' fantastic.
Antlers.
Yeah, we back to the Coolidge. We did Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Dream Warriors would also play. That is considered pretty universal as the. I wouldn't say universal. It's considered by the majority of the best of the sequels.
Absolutely, and it has a great couple of songs. It does.
I think that one they get to me Freddie right, where he's still very villainous.
Yes,
he's funny, but not cartoony funny, and you actually root for the heroes in that.
I think you're right. Absolutely. Because he definitely has the one-liners.
Yeah. So that's, while they're fun, you also feel bad for the majority of the people that get killed because they're likable.
They are. Yeah, they're very likable.
And I think that's why that's considered, it's also a good story, but I think that's why that's considered the best, because you've got the combination of likable people in Freddy.
Yeah, they're not just throwaways.
Yeah.
Like in some of the other.
Yeah, each of the deaths means something because you're invested in everybody.
Yeah.
And it was a good idea, the idea that they're working together. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
So Antlers?
Antlers, fantastic. Go see it. See, we're not just here to talk bad about new stuff.
We talked really good about, I think, most of the things we've seen. Yeah. You don't like Dune.
No. I see it. I didn't like it at all, to be honest. It's a joyless movie too, like Antlers in a way, but not. It's weird because I can't. It's not like I'll pick out to this as a shit movie. Like it's joyless and like.
I wasn't going to critique your opinion.
And gray. It's like whoever that guy made it. Like he just hates color.
There wasn't a lot of color in this movie.
The one guy that smiles.
Even the dead bodies weren't like. Even the blood on the walls was like.
I know, but it just worked.
Well, it had this like. I guess there was
much more endearing people. It's much more emotional. I think Dune was like emotionless.
Yeah.
The one guy that smiles, he gets killed.
There's only one guy that smiles?
I don't know.
Come on now.
I like to make stuff up. But I think there's one guy that smiles. And like, we gotta get rid of him. We can't have him in part 2. Yeah. There'll be no smile in part 2. Dune 2, no smile. But I've seen some people think Dune is like the masterpiece, and then there's people that think like I think. So
it's really
that is good though. I like
Yeah.
I don't think there's really many people think just I really don't want to like I don't hate the movie, but I can't it fucking sucks. No, like it's weird because I think it's weird though to not enjoy something and then say, but it's well made. So maybe it isn't well made. I don't know. But for me, it doesn't work. There's really nothing I can pick apart. Besides, I don't think
you're just not
invested in the people.
You don't enjoy it.
No, I don't enjoy it.
Like there's different. You don't have to enjoy it.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I don't want people to think I think it's poorly made because it looks good and stuff.
But you don't enjoy it, and that's fine. It's not for you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of we all like what we like. One person I don't think they'll mind if I say it at all. The person I saw really tearing it to shreds was Michael Epstein.
Yeah, he did.
He's just like relentlessly ripping it up, which was funny.
I think I just come to the conclusion I don't need Dune in my life. I've seen 3 versions of it now. I don't enjoy any of them. I think the first one is like. I mean, honestly, I hate it.
Patrick Stewart's in it.
There's a lot of people in it. It's terrible, bro. I've tried to watch it over the years, but it's not good. Then that one for sci-fi is not good.
I did not see that one.
This one, I can do without Dune. Maybe the book's great. I don't know. It's like 8,000 pages. I don't need to find out.
Yeah, there's no comic relief.
No.
I don't think so.
The first one is there's like the guy floating around.
I don't think it's meant to be comic relief.
Probably not. I find the whole movie comic relief. I don't know. I find it pretty hard to watch, to be honest. Whatever. Go watch Dune Nights.
Watch Antlers, really.
Yeah, watch Antlers.
Watch Antlers. Unless you will get, I think this movie could be very, very upsetting.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I find it very emotional even talking about it.
Yeah. I think that's something people, trigger warning. It's really, really, you would really have to be dim. Like the people in the bathroom, you really have to. I'm really sorry. I don't want to be rude and insulting to people, but I really think you'd have to be dim to not get what this movie is about.
Yeah.
So be careful. Be careful watching it. Some people might not be able to watch it. Mm. So if you've made it this far into our review, you probably can.
Right.
We've been pretty open about what it is.
Yeah.
So great movie. It's not fun.
Yeah, no,
but I
think it's definitely one to seek out. Yeah, it's really fun.
We had great pizza.
Yeah,
I wish I had a pizza place. We're gonna have to put that in the little Because it's great.
Yeah,
I feel like I want to help those people. It's just a
I'll add it in here because I don't know. Yeah, it's a very small place. I found it because it's easy to get to on my walk back to the bus station.
Mm-hmm.
It's open late, really inexpensive,
and good
in giant portions. We probably should have went with one each, but I should have said something. But I was pretty hungry. But yeah, it was, and it's really good. It's a little oily, I'll say that. But in my opinion, the best pizzas are oily
because it's a pepperoni pizza, so. That's all the like beautiful flavors of the pepperoni are like rice and
even the other like cheese and stuff. It's a little oily, but honestly, if you have a good Italian pizza, it's gonna be a little oily. Take this from an Italian over here. But yeah, it's really good. I like it. I'll put the link up.
Awesome. Yeah.
So you know what that means.
Well, it sounded just then like there was some pretty good food.
There's good drinks.
Was there?
Not really. We had some good coffee.
Did we?
I don't know. We didn't really have much, did we? We had what was coffee?
Mediocre drinks.
Victoria's Diner.
Oh, Victoria's Diner. I haven't been there in years. It's technically in Dorchester. I really think it's in Southie, but it's a beautiful old diner.
Yeah, it was really
I haven't been there in years. The waitress recognized me, which made me emotional.
It was very nice.
I used to go there all the time for a long time.
And it throws back. We're coming up to 10 years. The very first. It wasn't the first time we met, but one of the first times we met, we went to Victoria's Diner.
Yeah, to shared all the things that I knew. Now, Neal, it's so funny because I lived in Southie then, and I want to share all the wonderful things of Boston that I knew about with you.
Yeah.
Like taking the tea. You didn't ride the tea before.
No, I never. Now I ride all the time.
Now you're all independent. Now you're all out there in the world.
All right, well, thank you, buddy.
Well, I'm very happy.
Have fun.
So now you share things with me that I never knew about. So
like the pizza place.
Yes.
It is very fun to share things like that.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why I love being able to do that with you. It's like there's all these wonderful things out here. It's this great place and it's so fun.
Honestly, since we started doing this again, even before, I was like, oh, it'd be cool when we were talking like, oh, it'd be cool if we could do this, or I should try. But now we can. So
yes, it's great.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that you know how to get around Boston.
Yeah. It also helped me a lot when I went to London.
Oh, good.
Because
you knew how to read
the tube.
The signs.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Not read like words. But
the tube is really a giant version of the tea. So I think there was good food, good drinks.
It wasn't good drinks.
Yeah,
it was
good
mediocre
food.
Drinks, which is acceptable.
Right. It wasn't shit.
Because you don't need all these things to have a good time.
That's true. It could be overload. Good friends.
Good friends.
Equals.
Good times.
Good times. All right. So until next time, this is Nasty Neal.
This is Annabelle.
This is Dinner.
And the movie.
Subscribe.